Yeah, so I think the guys are playing really fast. They're playing with great confidence. You know, they're putting a significant amount of work in away from the facility, and I think it's being very visible when we get to practice. You know, they're communicating really well. They're playing with great anticipation, playing with great speed and pad level. Fundamentally, I've been impressed. I hope we can continue to do that and be consistent with those things, because at this position, those are things that are necessary in order to be very successful. So I'm happy to see those things. Hopefully, we can continue to go.
Specifically, yesterday was a lot of inside run, physical football. How do you think the linebackers did specifically kind of responding to those situations?
Well, we love that type of football. I mean, we love any kind of time that we have the opportunity to get downhill and just get after guys, right? And so I was happy to see us go through our eye progressions, be in the right spot the majority of the time. Now, we weren't perfect. There's some things we need to clean up, but it's always exciting, particularly for a second-level guy, when you know that that's the type of football you're going to be playing.
What's the biggest difference for Kalen, maybe from 5 months ago in the spring and a year ago at this time?
Yeah, what I'd say about Kalen, you know, he's a young man who's grown up. You know, being a part of the program now for the second year, he's matured in a lot of ways, not just as a football player and understanding the game, but also as a young man away from the field. So it's been really impressive to watch him. I mean, you can see him flying around. He's playing with great confidence. He's communicating. He's respected by his teammates. And I think it all stemmed from the work that he put in this offseason. You know, having a full offseason of consistency. I mean, we all know what we dealt with last year. I think it's showing for him. He's a young kid who loves this game. He loves his teammates, and he's been fun to coach and fun to watch. So he's just grown up, man, to be honest with you. And so he still has some growing to do. None of us are perfect yet, so we're still pushing for that. But he has grown, sir.
Was there a specific moment that you saw Kalen kind of start to the light bulb click for him, start to build that confidence?
You know, I wouldn't say it was a moment, but I would say, you know, it's been a process for him. He has had incremental gains throughout the course of after the season ended until this point. And so hopefully that growth continues at that pace, if not escalating even more, right? But I think those growth and those incremental gains, they start to compound. And when they compound, you can see the product on the field. So he's been doing some good things. So hopefully we can keep him going.
What's the key to being physical enough and getting that work in that you need, but not being too physical?
You know, I think when it comes to the game of ball, this particular game, that you have to always want physicality, almost violence at times from this particular position, especially in the front seven on defense. I think when it comes to practicing, when we're going against our own teammates, it's about practicing smartly, right? And protecting each other in a way, and how we tackle, how we pursue the ball, our body positioning at the point of contact, when we're destructing blocks. I think you have to have enough intelligence and enough football acumen to be smart about those things. But when it comes to being physical, when it's time to bang, we're going to bang. You know, and so that's something that I've been impressed with these guys, and I'm excited to see how we continue to do moving forward.
How far has DJ come over the last year?
You know, DJ Lundy, it's been good to watch his growth, right? Because you're talking about a young man who's from right down the road. Well, what did he do all high school? He was a 4-time state championship wrestler, and on the football field he played offense and defense. Here he's been able to focus primarily, and almost his entirety of his focus has been on defense. Obviously, he plays special teams as well. But being able to grow in a space where you fully are immersed in a particular scheme, in a particular position, it allows you to grow and to flourish if you put the work in. And he's a young man who loves to work. He doesn't back down from anything. And so I've been happy with him. He still has growth to have. He still has some room to grow, but he's taking some significant strides, sir.
When you're mixing guys, the linebacker position on
Yeah.
practice, is there anything like similar to offensive line where certain guys work well together, or is it pretty much interchangeable? That's your job, no matter who's out there?
You know, ideally, I think you'd like to be able to say, hey, everybody in the position room knows how to play every single position flawlessly and can go out and be the perfect quintessential examples of a linebacker, right? But that's not always the case. And so what you want to do is be smart and be able to supplement the strengths of the guy that you're playing next to. And so whatever that combination looks like, it does. And so that's what we've been doing, and seeing how the guys work together and how they work alone. And we still have room to grow, certainly.
How much has this offseason being more regular allowed you to understand that better than maybe last year when it was discombobulated and you were dealing with what you were dealing with?
You know, one thing that I think football players and coaches, for that matter, benefit from is structure, right? Continuity and consistency. Last year we didn't have any of that. This year we've had a lot more of those things, and because of that, I think you have the repetition of thought. you have the consistency of learning, and then you're able to scaffold up in terms of your teaching. You know, at times you find yourself, last year at least myself, you find yourself still teaching some of the fundamental aspects of the game and of the position. Whereas this year, you're level 2 and level 3, and hopefully you continue to grow in that way so that the guys not only understand what we're trying to get done from a fundamental standpoint, but understand the bigger picture, because when things happen that we may have not been able to cover in practice, they can apply their rules. And so that's kind of where we're headed this year. Sir.
What have you seen out of some of the newcomers in linebackers?
Yes, sir. So one of the newcomers we have is Jordan Eubanks. You know, he's a younger guy. You know, he's figuring it out. He's figuring out not only playing college football, but playing college football in the ACC and then playing college football at Florida State. Those are three things separately entirely, right? And so he's coming along. He'll learn and he'll grow. Cortez Andrews, he's been a young man that I've been impressed with. He's come in, he's made a name for himself, just working his behind off, keeping his mouth closed and trying to be the best version of himself. And obviously he's different from Jordan in the aspect that he's been around college football before. And I think he plays with a particular chip on his shoulder, being a hometown kid, being from right here and going to Guyby High School. He takes that with a lot of pride. And so he's very, very happy and proud to be a part of this program and represent us.
Murray Gaynor started making the switch to more inside linebacker in the spring. I guess how has he done continuing to learn and expand that role? Yeah,
Murray's a grinder. So whatever we put in front of him, he will try to figure it out and process and work in the best way he can and reach his full capacity. You know, he's a young man, even during fall camp, where the day is very, very regimented and structured and you have very little free time. He's still trying to find a way to get one-on-one field time with me as a coach. So that shows me that he's really immersed and really intent on being the best version of who he is, right? And so I've been happy with that. He's been growing. We still have a ways to go.
Doing that extra work, going the extra mile like he does, how much of an example has that been for those younger guys we're talking about?
No, I think that's phenomenal, because I think ultimately you want whatever position you play, you want to be a student of the game, especially at linebacker, because a lot of times we're like the quarterback of the defense, right? So you have to have an idea of where everybody is, what everybody is doing, so that you can do your job in a way that's not only effective but productive. And so for him to do that and set that example for guys who are coming after him, particularly with the year he had last year, I think it sets the tone of what the standard is. And so if he can continue to do that and other guys can follow, I like where we're headed.
Is Amari a guy that has to kind of carve out an inch as a down and distance sub-package guy, or is he somebody you think you can rely on all three downs?
Now, I don't want to limit Amari. I mean, the only limitations that Amari will have are the limitations he puts on himself, right? And so I hope that answers your question. Okay, thank you, guys. Thank you.